So my store has evolved so much in the last 6.5 years, and it didn't become, now it's just not a place to go shopping, but it's a place to, well, experience something like we all say we're supposed to be doing now with the change in retail, but I've always done that because of Macy's. Macy's was a great learning experience.
Anita, you spent a lot of time at Macy's and in the retail and I believe tech industries before you started Pippy&Lily. It seems as though you waited and learned and planned a lot before you started your business. Why was that?
Well, I guess it all began with my mom and college, and back in the day, so not a young chicken, she told me where to go to college. She said, you need to go to FIT and you need to become a buyer because retail was huge and the training programs were fabulous. So I went to FIT and I got a degree in buying and merchandising, and after I graduated, I realized I really didn't want to be a buyer per se. I wanted to sell. I loved people. I didn't want to sit behind, well then, there weren't that many computers, but I really didn't want to sit in an office and just look at papers. So I wanted to sell. So I got a job back then in a Federated department store, Abraham and Straus, which is no longer there anymore. And I worked in the cosmetic industry. I was a salesperson part-time while I continued college at Hofstra. So then I loved selling cosmetics. It was so glamorous, it was fun. You made commission, so the more you sold, the more you made. It was so easy. So I decided I wanted to stay in that industry and I wanted to sell. So I worked my way up to different positions within A&S, and then one of the cosmetic companies recruited me to work for them, which was Lancôme Cosmetics. So I became a rep for them, and I drove all around New York, New Jersey, and I just loved it. I knew I wanted to stay in that field. So then I continued to move up with Abraham and Straus, and then Macy's merged with A&S, and I started to work for Macy's. And then I worked in corporate Macy's, always in cosmetics and fragrances.
What is it you light up when you talk about selling? What do you like so much about selling?
I love teaching people. It was teaching people how to put makeup on, and ultimately they felt fabulous when they left. And I love that feeling. I love the feeling of making someone happy. So I knew I was going to stay in sales and not buying. So that's what I did. I was a sales rep, and I worked for Macy's. I was an executive with them. I had 600 employees underneath me to oversee throughout New York, New Jersey, Macy's stores.
You managed 600 employees?
Along with the department managers and the store managers. It was a team. It was a team effort. But we had to make sure every cosmetic counter looked a certain way. It was all about marketing and merchandising and making sure the salespeople were selling and they were trained. It was a lot of different things.
Was opening a business of your own in the back of your mind for a long time?
Always.
Always, even when you were at Macy's?
Always. I'm a dreamer. I dream a lot about what I want, and I try to get it, even though I don't get half of it. I always could picture myself in my own store, in a boutique, selling beautiful things.
Says your mom knew that you had this retail gene in you, did she?
She must have.
Because she told you were going to go to FIT.
She told me. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I was going.
Right.
But I did help her in her father's grocery store. My grandfather came from Italy, and he started a grocery store, and she worked there when she had kids, and I was the youngest at the time, and I had to help her. So it was in me, I guess, from that.
I think more than half the time when we talk to entrepreneurs and business owners, there's a business ownership somewhere in their family history. It's very common. Right? What is it that you like most about your own boutique now?
I like that I'm accountable to myself. Like I have to make it work. No one's helping me. I have to make it work. I'm not a person that likes to fail, so I can't ever see myself failing, even though I have made mistakes, tons of mistakes along the way. But I don't see myself failing. I'm accountable, so it's even harder. It's even harder.
What
have your
was
own business.
one mistake that you made as a business owner, despite your extensive experience as an employee in large retail companies?
That's a great question. Well, I acquired the location of my business through my friend who had a store on the same location. And because it was already renovated and it was a beautiful storefront, I decided to take over her lease. It was almost like I wasn't ready to have a store. I was actually working out of my suitcase with my goods, doing like, I was doing shows like house parties, and I also went to some of the North Shore country clubs. I was doing charity events out of suitcases and working. So this cropped up. She was leaving. She wasn't doing well. And she said, you should take over my lease. It's a great neighborhood. It's a really beautiful store. It was actually my 5-year plan, and this was 2 years later. So I thought, okay, I have to take a chance. I can't not do this. It just fell into my lap. But it wasn't the perfect location. So I think, I don't know if it was a mistake.
Right.
I took the chance.
You're still there. That's where you still are.
I'm still there. I had to make it a location, a destination location.
Wow. Instead of moving, you made it a destination
because
location.
there's no foot traffic.
So how did you get around that? What'd you do?
So I planned events. I went back into my Macy's role as an executive with promotional events, and I made it become an event location too. So every month I would have a different event. I would have ladies' night out, wine and cheese, different things. Then it became charity events for causes. And the one I'm most proud of is the Live On New York Organ Donor Day, which I do every year in October. And it's signing up New Yorkers to be organ donors. So my store has evolved so much in the last 6.5 years, and it didn't become, now it's just not a place to go shopping, but it's a place to, experience something like we all say we're supposed to be doing now with the change in retail, but I've always done that because of Macy's. Macy's was a great learning experience.
You know, that's what all the big retailers are trying to do right now, is what you just described, and having these events. And some of them tell me it's not easy to get a crowd to come out on a Wednesday evening or something. A lot of them are not doing very well. They're trying different things at events, and many of them haven't found what worked. But I suspect maybe yours are certainly very authentic and local, and you're behind it, right?
It isn't easy.
Yeah.
But I think I feel better by doing it because of having done it for so long at Macy's. It was kind of in my blood. That's all I knew is events. Think of cosmetics. When you walk into a Macy's or a Bloomingdale's, there's so much going on.
Right.
All the counters have so much, animation. So I was so used to doing that I did it from day one, even before anybody said do experiential events. Where then I did it so much, it started to get watered down a little. So I had to stop doing it so much.
At your current store?
Yes, because the same people would come. So then I thought, I need a new group of people. So then I would branch out to the schools, the local colleges.
St. John's, I believe?
Yes, St. John's.
That's brilliant. There's no shortage of people connected to St. John's.
We just did an event with them.
What did you do?
So I'm a very big believer of women in business. So I support women in business. So I try to bring in local women in business who make things, handbags or jewelry, and I bring them into my store, and we either do a trunk show where we show their goods for a day, or I bring them in, I buy their things and bring them in, and then I promote that it's made by a woman locally in your town. So with St. John's, we took that and we expanded, and we brought 2 sororities together from St. John's. The sororities, the girls now and the girls then. And we brought them together, and we had a major fundraiser for a scholarship for someone who couldn't afford a scholarship at St. John's.
You're brilliant.
Not really. I learned
You sure
this.
did. Wow.
I learned this.
So how's business? It's usually the
It's-
first question I ask.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, in this climate, I have to say it's a roller coaster. I mean, one month I could be soaring. The next month I could be tanking. And I used to get very nervous about that and lose sleep, but I ride the wave. Let's see what happens in the next 3 months. Let's see, I just keep going. I don't give up. As long as I'm not always dropping, as long as I see this, I just keep going.
And, you know, it strikes me that your business is doing what Starbucks succeeded at doing first. They fashioned themselves as the third place, so-called. Not the office and not home, but a gathering place, as it was. Now nobody wants to meet in Starbucks anymore. That's kind of past. But you have sofas in your store, and you become a third place between online and in-store. A different type of store, it seems. It's a gathering place, and people come and sit, right?
Exactly. They come in and I hear them, this is a true story. I actually hear them walk in the door and they go, and I say, is everything okay? Oh, this is my happy place. I love coming here just to let go.
A wonderful story. What did you bring? You brought something
I
from
brought
your
you
store.
something made by a woman locally
Okay.
in Long Island. And
Shall I open it, or
it's
you want to open it?
You can open it. It's your
Okay.
gift. It's one of many type of items I have in my store besides fashion and jewelry.
Right.
But this lady's local. She makes coasters out of tiles.
Uh-huh.
And she makes them for weddings, and she makes them for just hostess gifts. This one's just
Wow,
a
look.
fun one.
And
This is how we wrap.
So it's heavy, so I think it's a quality gift, because I tell by the heft and feel of it. Oh, wow.
So it's
Those are
handmade.
beautiful.
Coasters made out of tiles. I sell so many of them because they're just unique, and it's made by a female entrepreneur.
By who? You remember her name?
Her name is Claudia Peglow. She lives in Long Island.
Claudia. Those are beautiful.
She's very creative. Genius.
Wow. It's great to know you, Anita.
Oh,
it's
it's so
wonderful
great
to
to know
hear
you.
your story.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
not surprised you're doing well in the least. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
really
very
appreciate
much.
it.